My name is Armel Iradukunda. I am a son of a survivor's parents. I never had a chance to meet my grandparents and many relatives on both sides because they were killed in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. My parents fled to Kenya, Nairobi before the genocide, which is how they survived. I've known Miss Immaculee Songa for the last 3 years and a half, during which she has empowered me to dream and live a life of purpose. She has become like a parent and an advisor to me. The first time I really got to appreciate her was during the spring break of 2017, when I had come back home in South Bend to enjoy my spring break with my mother. It was time for me to go back to school, so my mother was trying to figure out how I was going to go back to school. She went to visit Songa for seeking advice on which bus I was going to take. Songa was reluctant on the idea of me taking the bus, arguing that I was new in the country, I was still young, and the bus would take so many stops. Instead, she volunteered to drive me to school. The next day, my mother and Songa drove for 8 hours and drove me to school and came back that same day. During that moment, I felt loved and worthy, and I was very appreciative of Songa's service. When I came back to South Bend during the summer break, Songa told us that she was going to travel to Rwanda for a wedding. I remember it was a Tuesday. My mother invited her for lunch. So me and my siblings joined for that lunch. And during that moment, I could see that my mother valued her friendship and trusted her. I could never tell that she was sending a message to look after me when she passes away. On July 1st of 2017, my mother and I were driving in Indianapolis when we had a tragic accident that killed my mother. I remember on my hospital bed, I kept asking people who came to visit me, where is Mama Christian? Where is Mama Christian? When she heard of this tragic news, she flew back to South Bend to be with us. She supported us. She was at our house most of the time. She cooked for us. She did everything she could, and I'm very grateful for what Songa has done for us. When she learned of me visiting the cemetery, she called me to come to see her, and we discussed about that situation. Songa proposed to go with me to the cemetery whenever I needed to go. From then, she would go with me to put flowers at the cemetery. She would call me to check on me. She would say, "Armel, let's focus on getting the right education your mother wanted for you, so that we can make her proud." As I applied for college, Songa would check deadlines for me to see that I'm not late to send my applications. She would call me after school to make sure that I was doing everything I needed to do so that my applications were sent on time. A few weeks after my mother's death, it was critical that I faced reality. I had to go back to school. So Songa invited me to her house to discuss about my upcoming year, which was my junior year. She told me that staying around and changing my schools, it would be beneficial. I was very lucky enough to be admitted at Marian High School in August of 2017. And I can tell you it was the best choice I ever made, because the school lifted me in a way I've never seen and I've never experienced. The love, the care that I got from the Marian educators. Frankly, I don't even know who I would be today if I didn't meet Songa and go to Marian High School. As Songa stepped in as a parent, Songa guided me through the journey to education and the well-being after my mother had passed away. Marian High School gave me the right education and saw that I was a student who needed attention. They succeeded, and I recommend this high school to parents who dream for a school that forms not only intellectual but also character. and I thank Marian so much. Songa challenged me academically. She would check my grades and it would motivate me to try my best. She called me very often. She drove me to my university and dropped me off just like my mother would have done, and ensured of how I was doing school-wise, spiritually and health-wise. She advised me on the benefit of education, my classes and extracurricular activities. She advised me to volunteer at St. Joseph Hospital and serve others in a setting hospital. Watching her excited for me to get into college reensured that someone cared for me, and this reminded me to work harder and that I was going to reach my dreams. After my mother's death, I did not have hope at all. I felt like life was over without her, but now I know she is proud of me and she watches over me. As I was getting ready for my college applications, Songa would take me to visit schools. I remember she also gave me the key for her house in case I needed something and she wasn't home. She convinced me to talk to a young brilliant man who was in college to help me prepare for my SAT. She brought hope for my future, and I commend for her selfless attitude, for going above and beyond to help the youth in my community. Her ultimate goal is to see us in college and succeed in life. I'm very grateful for her presence in my life and of those other survivors. Her generosity and self-sacrificing spirit are a gift to so many survivors. When she mentioned to me that she was the founder of the Global Survivors for Peace, I was very excited for her and for the survivors. Her passion to the cause of the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi is second to none. I remember she told me that this idea she's been planning for a long time. Last year in 2019, I attended a symposium on the genocide where she was the chair of the organizing committee. For the few years I've known Songa, I noticed that she doesn't focus on herself. Instead, she focuses on families and people who are in need and are facing many challenges after their families were killed. I ask our Lord to bless the Global Survivors for Peace, its founder, and the board dedicated to the cause of the genocides. My heartfelt gratitude to Songa for empowering me to become a man. I promise you I won't disappoint you. You have done an uplifting work for me and you have never stopped. May young survivors listen and take action. To dream, to serve, to be empowered and succeed and be the difference in our communities.